What's up, guys? So this is a tank I got from my aunt. She was a biology major back in the 80s, and she's had this 30-gallon laying around, so she gave it to me. You can see it doesn't have the bottom frame or anything, but the top one's still there. And I didn't really have any fish at school. I just had a little beta, and I decided to give them a big home. So I put them in here, it's a 30-gallon tank, and then my fiance wanted more fish in there. She likes flowy fish, so I had to get these guppies, about 8 guppies in there. And I wanted something besides guppies. Oh, there he is. So I put some little African dwarf frogs in there. It'll focus. And then some neon tetras. The filter I have on here is actually for a 70-gallon tank, or 75-gallon, I'm not really sure. And then plants you put in here. Oh, there's a little ram in the back. So funny story about him. I went to the pet store to get these tetras, and there's a new girl working there, and that little guy was, that little guy was in the tank with the neon tetras. And I asked her what kind of ram it was. She said, oh, it's not a ram, it's a tetra. And the tetras were selling for like $1.50. And I said, I'll take it. Didn't argue with her. So I got that ram. I'm not sure what kind of ram it is, but got it for $1.50. And these plants in here I got back in my stream. There's a stream leading to a little lake in my woods about 2 acres back. And put them in here. I have a grow light on. Bought a grow light so I could do some hydroponic stuff, start the seedlings, and I just decided to put it on here. These things were all brown and stuff from the winter, and I put the light on. They all started out about that size, so about 1.5 inches or so. And after 3 weeks, they're all up here, so they're doing good. I don't think I'm gonna put anything else in here. So this is my 70-gallon tank. This was my parents' old saltwater tank. They had a bunch of fish in there, but then they didn't want to take care of it anymore, so it was sitting in the basement for quite some time. At the time I had some aquatic turtles when I was in college, and had them in here, and then gave them to one of my friends. He's a kid, so he really liked turtles. Gave them to him, and then I bought an Oscar. Had an Oscar in here. I had him in here. I don't know, the Bashir's over here. Don't want him taken off. So it was just an Oscar and a Bashir in here. My Oscar was about 10 inches. There's not much of a gap here. You can see that. He jumped out of there. I was on a fishing trip steelhead fishing trip in Michigan. My fiance was looking over the tank. She came back to feed him, and he was on the ground by my bed. So he jumped out, flopped all the way over to my bed. So then I decided to redecorate, take everything out, start anew. So decided get a couple cichlids. All the cichlids in here are American cichlids, either South or Central American. 2 Jack Dempseys. There's one of them right here. Where's the other one? Not sure where the other one is right now. Oh, there he is. I have this turquoise Severum. Not very colorful, but I got him for $2 at the pet store. I think someone had him up for adoption, so I got him. Jack Dempsey again. And I have this firemouth cichlid that my fiance keeps calling a fire horn. She gets a firemouth and the flower horn confused. And I know it's not from the Americas, but I have this eclipse catfish, or sun catfish. He's from India. Just thought he was cool, got him. And of course the Bashir from Africa, the Congo River. And I just have a couple little minnows in here that I had in my other tanks. Just hoping to keep them in here to have other fish in the tank that aren't very aggressive, some schooling fish. So these cichlids kind of get used to it. Just threw them all in here at the same time, so they could get used to each other. They're not very aggressive. The Bashir just kind of pays no attention to them. He kind of does his own thing, as you can see. But I decided to get some new substrate, put in this substrate for aquatic plants. Everything, all the plants in here, all the rocks, got them from my woods, got them in the stream, just like my other tank, all these. I'm not sure what kind of plants these are. Just put them in here. They've been growing. Some decent colors. And just like on this tank, I have another grow light. I had another grow light from just growing vegetables inside and not using it right now. So I just put it on this tank. Hopefully those plants can grow. Get real big, just keep transplanting them, propagating, whatever, and hopefully get some more plants in here. And before I got these guys, when I had the Oscar in here, I had some jankety ass pump that I actually had a Rubbermaid. It sat on top of the aquarium back here. It's a 5-gallon Rubbermaid container. It's filled with lava rock, and they had this pump back here pumping up to it, and then we just filter down. And then it looks a little janky, and since I was starting new, I just went to Home Depot, got, I don't know if you can see it down here, bought this pond filter. It says it's good for 1,200 gallons. And it has a, on the back, can't really see it, is a UV light sterilizer. So, thought that was pretty cool. I just kept the same pump. It's a 550 gallon pump, so it filters this thing pretty good. It's a little cloudy right now because I literally just put this in a couple hours ago. It's a little cloudy. It'll clear up. I'm hoping these guys get along when they grow up. I'll have to show you guys what this looks like when the water's all clear. Maybe put some more feeder fish in there. I just put feeder fish in. They were at 14 cents. Decided to put them in. Let's chase them around a little bit. So along with my other tanks, I just have a couple little quarantine tanks, or get this Spanish sticky note off of here. This is just a 30-gallon filter on this 10-gallon. Once again, this is all stuff from my stream except this little hut thing. Everything else in here, not the mason jars, from my stream. This is just a bunch of mud and stuff I picked up back there. I wanted to experiment with cold water tank. About a bunch of feeder fish at the time. Had the rocks different. I was trying to test with just cold water and see how cold I could get it. I had a fan on here, and at room temperature with the fan and stuff, I got it down to about 60 degrees. I wanted to mess around with it so I could eventually get a nice long tank and try some brook trout or some rainbow trout without having to buy a chiller. And I realize that's gonna be difficult, but I'm just doing some experiments. I have a heater in now. It's just a little quarantine tank just in case one of my fish gets a little sick. Put them in here. And up here, it's just a Rubbermaid container. Same thing, just another quarantine tank if I need it. I have some plants coming out, some little hydroponic stuff. I had all my guppies in here when I first got them. And this is what I plan to put some aquatic snails I find at the lake, or some clams I find at the lake. Put them in here for a month or so before I put them in my other tanks. Sterilize them, get any possible parasites or bacteria and stuff that might bring into these tanks out. This tank, I've had this filter on here. I had this filter on here when I had the turtles in the 70-gallon tank, and I haven't changed it in probably a year. It's still crystal clear. Should probably change it soon. I'm just afraid to open it, deal with the smell and mess. I'm just kind of putting that off, and I'm just waiting for this big filter to clear this guy up. It's still pretty cloudy. Might have to do a water change and let it sit a little bit again.